What is happening, people? It is part 2 of the June Q&A, and yes, I know it is July. I talked about that in the last video, which you can find a link to above. I really do appreciate all your guys' questions, but right now we need to get into it because there is a whole lot to cover. All right, so Tom asks, have I always been a positive person and ready for a challenge, or has it been something that I've had to work on? And I will definitely say that it is something that I've had to work on and build, and honestly, it was all built through discipline. So I can't remember how old I was, but it was probably single digits, maybe early double digits, so I may have been like 10, maybe. Anyway, near one Easter, my family celebrates Easter, and there's always Easter baskets with candy and yumminess like that. And so for, I guess it was like 2 months or something prior to that Easter, as a young man, I said, I'm not gonna eat any sweets, any type of candy, any soda, anything bad, for 2 months, so that when I have my Easter basket, it's going to be glorious, right? And that was the first time that I ever actually had to create some discipline in my life and show some self-discipline. I had been told no plenty of times by my mom and my dad about doing certain things and trying different things. However, this was the first time that I can really remember where I was like, I'm gonna take 2 months, I'm setting my mind to an end goal, and I'm not going to change until it gets there. And that 100% changed my life. I learned that discipline is actually kind of fun. I learned that I actually enjoy setting goals, marking things off a list, checking days off a calendar where I was good and I didn't have any candy leading up to it. So now I think with my life, it has never been crazier. It has never been more hectic. I've never been under more stress than I am currently, literally today. Today was harder than yesterday, and yesterday was harder than the day before. That's just literally how my life is right now. And I swear to you, I could not still be a positive person if it weren't for the discipline in my life. Discipline literally rules from the moment that I wake up until I go to bed. I do not care so much about my feelings about a certain subject. I care about it getting done and checking that thing off the list or accomplishing a goal or doing something like that. And when you start treating things like that, they hold less on you. I know there are a lot of young men watching this that are like, but I don't want to get a job at the supermarket, or I don't want to have this job, or I don't want to do that. Do it. Do it and stick to it, especially if you hate it. If you hate your job, that just means that how important it is for you to do it. Once you get a little bit older and you start to be able to support yourself and make your decisions, then you can decide what you want to do with your life. But right now, if you are a young man, I can tell you there is nothing more important than doing something that is absolutely horrendous and doing it to the best of your ability, because that is going to build something inside of you that nothing else is going to build. It is about not caring about how your feelings are about situation. It's about saying, this needs to get done. I don't care if I like it or I don't like it. I need to get it done. Once you can get past all those like, but I hate cleaning my room, I hate doing the dishes. None of that matters, man. In the big scheme of things, none of that matters. It's just stuff that you're gonna have to do. That's part of being a human, living being. You can't have a mom pick up your clothes and do your laundry forever. You're gonna have to do that at some point. However, the second that you start taking control, grab something and be disciplined about it. Spend 2 months of your life and cut something out. Be disciplined. Don't miss the gym. Don't stay up late. Don't do those things. Or take a job that you hate and work it for 6 months for no other reason than you hate it and you know it's going to build some character in you. You do that and you get past that, being happy is no problem at all. It is the easiest thing in the world, because then you only start seeing the blessings in your life as opposed to all the problems. When you care about how something feels, or whether it's fun or it's not fun or it's what you want to be doing, you are never going to be happy, because it's never going to be enough. That's why people who have a ton of money still are not happy, because they didn't figure out what it was that made them happy. And I'm telling you, for me personally, discipline is the only way that my life works. Sometimes it's fun to go off the rails, but for the most part, I'm happy when I accomplish things. I'm happy when I'm successful. I'm happy when I get a PR or when I make weight for a competition. I am not happy with being like, oh, but I didn't get to watch Netflix for 6 hours today or play video games. That won't make you happy. That's going to end. So man, I'm obviously not talking to you specifically. I'm just talking in general. But that is 100% what has made me happy in my life, and how I've been able to just kind of maintain it. And now it's very, very easy for me to be happy with whatever circumstances I'm in, because I purposely put myself in really, really hard situations so that I can appreciate the good. You need the bad with the good, and if you stick enough bad in your life, then the good times feel really, really good, even if they're not that good to a normal person. I hope that answers the question, man. All right, next question. I am not gonna say your username because it's a family-friendly channel. However, you said, what are some of the worst mistakes that you made as a beginner? I can tell you right now, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made is trying to make this stuff more complex than it needs to be. Dude, this is all you need to know. Squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. There are so many reputable programs out there that are terrific. And if you just go on those things, whether it be starting strength, 5-3-1, cube method, conjugate, my programs, whatever you end up doing, just stick to the program. A lot of people want to know, like, well, what about this? What about that? What can I put in place of this? Or how can I change this so it better suits my goals? There is no shortcut. There is no magic pill. It is just about time in the game and coming in day after day and trying to get a little better than the last time you left. When I first got in this game, I was worried that I wouldn't get any bigger if I didn't lift more than 8 reps per thing. That was a lie. I didn't think I'd ever get stronger if I wasn't going for 3 rep maximums or 1 rep maximums. That ended up being a lie. Virtually everything that I thought about making this game more complicated than it actually is, I wish I never would have done. I wish I could forget half of what I know about lifting because I think I'd be twice the lifter I am. So all the guys who are out there doing a ton of research and trying to be like, well, you know, this person says that 90 seconds rest is good and this person says 2 minutes rest is good. Dude, just get in, work hard, eat your food, sleep plenty, focus on your recovery, get in, do it again. Do that for 2 decades, you're gonna be awesome. Most people fall out because they get bored or they lack commitment, which kind of goes back to that intrinsic motivation thing that I talked about before. You don't need to go in and knock the ball out of the park every day. All you need to do is go in and try to do a little bit better. That doesn't need to mean that you are putting more weight on the bar than you did last time. It just needs to mean that you worked your technique or you pushed harder on your conditioning. You did something to mentally and physically make yourself better that day. That's all you need to do, man. That's all that I did. And trust me, after a long enough amount of time, you will get exactly where you want to be. But do not overcomplicate this stuff. I think that is the biggest mistake that I see people doing right now. Thank you very much, man. I hope that answers your question. All right, next question. I'm not gonna attempt your name because I'm gonna mess it up, but you want to know what scares me. You wanna know about the most scared or anxious I've been in my life. So I don't think normal things scare me the way that they scare most people. Like I'm not afraid of heights, I'm not afraid of snakes, I'm not afraid of spiders, well, maybe spiders a little bit. Kind of don't like spiders, but they kind of go about their way. I kind of go about my way, so that doesn't really bother me anymore. I'm not scared of mice. I'm not scared of all the normal stuff that most people get freaked out over. None of that stuff really bothers me. What does bother me is 2 things. What I'm scared of, number 1, is not being prepared. Not only not being prepared, and I'm talking about all areas of my life. So I want to be prepared if someone robs me tonight. I want to be prepared if I have to go for a PR. I want to be prepared if I need to speak German in 6 minutes. I want to be able to be capable in any situation, and not being prepared for situations, that definitely raises my anxiety levels. But if I'm prepared for something, it doesn't matter how big the crowd, how big the show, it doesn't matter. If I feel prepared, I'm good to go. Also, I gotta say death, but not my death. I could care less if I died tomorrow. I think I've had a good run, very happy with how I live my life. I will happily die empty at any given time that it needs to happen. However, my loved ones dying, or a puppy dying, or a pet, or a friend dying, that scares the crap out of me because there is nothing that I can do to stop that. If someone is going to get in a car accident and die tonight, unless I am actively part of that driving situation, I'm probably not going to be able to do anything about it. And that type of loss, like I am terrible at goodbyes. Man, I can't tell you how many friends have seen me crying when we say goodbye because I know me and I'm a terrible friend. I know when a goodbye is actually a goodbye, and I am terrible with it. I do not like funerals. I do not like going to go see my friends or my family or my pets die. That bothers me. And that really, really does scare me. It actually scares me to an unhealthy amount, I would say. Where most people can kind of be like, yeah, I can have a dog, it'll be awesome for like 12, 13 years. It'll be awesome to have a dog. My brain says, that dog's gonna die one day and that is going to level me. So I'm not gonna dog. Just how I'm made. You ask a question, I give you the answer. I hope that helps. All right, so Carl Griffith asked, am I ever going to release a book? And yes, man, that is absolutely within my 1 to 2 year time span. hopefully. Right now, a lot of my time is taken up with gym expansion kind of stuff and just building the business. It is just going like crazy right now. But as soon as the building expansion is done, I'm going to try really, really hard to start setting aside some time every single day to sit down and write. And when that happens, hopefully that book will come out sooner than later. I'm still not sure if I'm going to try to do the ebook thing and risk it being just torn it all over the place and me just basically releasing a book for free, or doing an actual book and having a lot less people buy it. So I don't know what exactly the best process there will be for me, but I will be talking about my training methods, some of the different tips that I think work best. There is actually a lot of stuff involved that happens at our gym that I do not release on videos. It stays in our gym. So that book might cover a little bit of those types of things. But I am going to write a book. I have to. I don't see that I can't not, with as much time and as effort as I put into this. I think a book would be a really, really cool thing and a really good thing to help me focus my direction in what I want to do further in this sport or in my business. So yes, it's going to be coming out soon. I really hope that helps. Thank you very much for asking the question. All right, Otanal asks, are weightlifting shoes worth it? I would probably say no. Well, no, if you don't make a ridiculous amount of money. If you have $200 to just kind of throw away, yeah, then definitely get weightlifting shoes. They definitely do help the mobility in the squat, and it definitely helps in your stability in the overhead press. There is no doubt. Now, how much it actually helps? Not much. I mean, I squatted for 20 years in bare feet and had absolutely no problem making all the gains I did. Once got squat shoes, now looking at it, if I had to take my squat shoes off to squat, I'd be like, well, I kind of wish I had my squat shoes, but it's not really a performance thing. It's just I feel more rooted to the floor when I have my squat shoes on. But honestly, for most lifters, especially most general lifters, it's not going to make your squat go up 50 pounds or anything. It doesn't do anything like that. It just makes it feel slightly better. It's like when you go to chiropractor, you feel slightly better after. Are you any better? I don't know. I'm not a chiropractor. I also don't sell squat shoes, but I can tell you I made it a long time without them and didn't have any problems. So if you have a ton of disposable income that you want to drop on some weightlifting shoes, feel free. I think you should spend that $200 on coaching because that is going to get you a lot further in the long run than anything else. A lot of people are willing to spend a bunch of money on gear for lifting, like squat shoes, straps, wraps, sleeves, shorts, all this stuff. They'll spend all kinds of money on that, but they won't spend money on coaching when really coaching is the only thing that's actually truly going to help them. So I would tell you, spend that money on a good coach. Get a couple personal training sessions with a reputable coach, not your normal personal trainer, or get some programs or buy some books. Honestly, $200 could be spent a lot of different ways in a pair of shoes that is just going to make you feel slightly better. For me personally, I don't really think they're worth it, but I'm sure a lot of people would disagree, which is completely fine. But I thank you very much for the question. I hope that answers it. All right, BHH1988 asks, I'm curious about your story about how you deadened the nerve in your hip flexor and you couldn't lift your leg. I'd like to know in detail what happened, what symptoms were, and how you overcame it. All right, buddy. So number one, the actual injury took place during my old job, so I can't talk about how it happened. What I will say is that I broke my back. I broke L3 and L5 and herniated discs around them. So the symptoms, as far as how it started, the second that it happened, I knew something was wrong. I had broken my back in the past, so I knew that pain, and it was definitely painful. But I will just say that it felt like something was wrong. Something was not right with my body. The actual bottom outside two toes of my left foot started going numb, and then that numbness traveled up my leg all the way on the outer sweep of my thigh, and then eventually my hip flexor started to die, and I literally could not pick my leg up off the ground. That lasted for about 6 months. Now, how I came back from that is I literally went back to the gym the next day. I was not deadlifting PRs, I was not squatting PRs, but I was back in there, I was moving, I was trying to do motions that were going to move those vertebrae and strengthen the muscles around it, just get blood to the hurt area. However, my leg not being able to be lifted for about 6 months definitely hurt me, and my leg is substantially smaller. My left leg is the hurt side than it is my right leg. My right leg is a decent amount larger than my left because of that injury. And there's nothing that I can really do about it. I don't care about that anyway. Why would I care about that? But I think the biggest thing that got me back quickly is that I went right back at it immediately. If I would have taken a week off, who knows where the swelling would have been, who knows how much worse that situation would have been, how much longer it would have lasted. And if it was much longer at all, I'm pretty sure that I would have done permanent nerve damage and probably never have been able to get to where I am right now. Because this happened probably, let's just say 10 years ago. It was a while ago. God, I'm getting old. Anyway, I talk much more about this in detail in a video called Dealing with Injuries. If any of you are going through a similar situation or just hurt yourself and you want to know how to get back, I cover it in much more depth there. So thank you very much for your question, man. I hope that answers it. All right, Ryan Hutchinson asks, with as much you do for explosiveness, is there any particular reason why you don't incorporate cleans and snatches into your workouts? Absolutely, man. Sorry, I had to put the computer down there. I do really care about explosiveness, but I really think the clean and the snatch are pretty good at making your clean and snatch better. I don't know that they really make you more explosive. Like, people used to believe that, like, oh, football players do a lot of power cleans because it's gonna make you more explosive. As research finds out, that doesn't really work. It makes you really good at doing cleans, and working the snatch will make you really good at doing snatches, but I don't know that there is enough carryover to other things. And you need to remember in strongman, if you're just talking about something like a deadlift, where a powerlifter has to work on the deadlift, maybe the stiff-legged deadlift, maybe the deficit deadlift, maybe. In strongman, you will be competing in a frame deadlift, a farmer's handle deadlift, an axle deadlift, a barbell deadlift, an 18-inch deadlift, a 13-inch deadlift, a car deadlift, a random object deadlift. Like, all those things are things that I need to be good at, and not just slightly good at. I need to be good enough to compete with any of those things, and that's just deadlift. We're not even talking carries. We're not talking other strongman specific movements. So when it comes ever time for doing Olympic weightlifting, I just don't have room in my schedule. There's literally not enough time or training economy for me to actually get that done and spend any real time doing it. I really fit my workouts in right now whenever I can, and they're not truly great workouts right now. I'm just trying to get done exactly the least amount that I can possibly do and still continually to hopefully progress and hopefully get ready for competitions. But with as packed as my schedule is, I cannot tell you, literally every single minute from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed 7 days a week is taken up. So there's a bug. Mess with me, bug. I'm sorry. But I honestly have no time. I think Olympic weightlifting is amazing and I am a fan, but I will continue to stay a fan, and I don't really see any point in doing it for my own personal training unless I was going to be involved in Olympic weightlifting, which I'm not. So there you go, man. I hope that answers your question. All right, it's getting dark out, so I need to go home. I thank you guys so much for your questions, but that will be the end of the June Q&A. If you guys have questions for the July Q&A, that will probably come out in August, most likely, then go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. I do thank you guys to each and every single one of you who did put out questions. I'm sorry if I did not get to your question. Maybe it was too specific. Maybe I just simply ran out of time. But trust me, guys, I do read them. I read every single comment. I thank you guys so much for them. I will catch up with you guys later this week, but until I do, go out, do something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other, and I'll see you then.